another Crosstalk Solutions live stream. I hope you're all doing okay out there. If everything sounds good, please let me know in the chat. Looks like some people are already starting to pop in there, so thank you very much. And yeah, we have a special guest on the live stream today. Oh, look at that. He's already in our chat. This is Tom Lawrence from Lawrence Systems. You guys probably already know Tom. If you don't, you should go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Go ahead and promote your YouTube channel a little bit there, Tom.
Oh, let's see. We have an IT services company, and we love talking about all the fun IT stuff we do, specializing in a lot of firewalls. And, I actually met Chris because we have a fondness for some of the Unify equipment and a few other things. And also, and I haven't got any videos released on it, but some of the Cadmium network stuff, which Chris has also turned me on to. And turns out that's some really nice stuff, too.
Yeah, Cambium. Cambium's great. I am actually in the process of doing a video where I'm using NetSpot. I don't know if you use NetSpot to do Wi-Fi mapping, but I'm using NetSpot to map Wi-Fi for Unify versus Cambium access points versus Ruckus access points. And what I'm finding out is that around my house, they're all completely overkill because the Wi-Fi mapping looks just solid green throughout the entire house and even around my house into the yard. So, yeah. What do you guys do for Wi-Fi mapping? Like if you go on site, what do you use for that?
Honestly, one of the things that I really found works the best, and I got to publish a video on a bowling alley job. So we did an 80,000 square foot bowling alley that has as many as 3,000 people in it at a time. Wow. And the way we did the Wi-Fi mapping was literally we brought them to the building because the building was built over time to encompass 80,000 square feet. It wasn't built at once. Right. And I may use sometimes literally just the Unify tool to get me a generalized idea. But the rest of it, we show up on site to do them. When we want to do them proper like that, we just come in, we bring them, we put them all in like a demo mode. We usually give them the client name and we scatter them around a little bit and we see how good the signal is. That's been one of our big projects that how we do them.
But it's also you just measure the signal in different places? Or do you actually do like mapping where you're mapping it out on a floor plan?
We'll map it on a floor plan where we're actually going to put them. We go in and it actually is amazing because it sold the client because they had someone else that put other Wi-Fi in, which someone rigged up a bunch of Nighthawks. I can't really say it was professional Wi-Fi at the bowling alley, but what we did just by bringing in one Unify APC HD and we set it down. We went to where the people would sit up at the bar and things like that, and we showed them that it worked really fast. And you're like, wow, we don't even have signal over here with the Wi-Fi, and it's literally next to the Nighthawks. Right. So we blew them away. So right away, they cut the deposit check while we waited.
Yeah, there's a tip that I like to use when it comes to technology is that if anything has the word gaming on it, it's probably just a marketing ploy.
Yes.
Like a gaming router or a gaming chair or
yeah. Once they start adding on that, and I think too many people, if I see the word military grade, I feel as though marketing just got to drop words in it. Military grade, cool. It may represent a encryption standard, but it's also the same encryption standard a lot of things use. Right. So it's not necessarily. You got to cut through the marketing. I want to know what encryption you're using. What is the strength of the Wi-Fi? What are the settings?
Well, okay, so a couple of little housekeeping items right here at the beginning. If you guys are not members of the Crosstalk Discord, I recommend you join up and talk to us. We have a lot of people on there all the time, lots of good conversations going, and I'm on there almost every single day chatting with people. And that link is down in the description below, but it's also very easy. It's https:/discord.io/crosstalk. Tom, do you guys have a Discord channel?
We do not. We are setting up forums. Currently, we do not have any actual Discord channel. I've debated back and forth about it. It becomes kind of do I have time for that? Yeah. I like forums because it seems like they post something, I can do the comments in there. My current forums are on Facebook, and I just know a lot of people have hate for Facebook. One thing I'll say for my forums on Facebook, for all the people that hate it, I've had zero spam problems for all the people that are on there. None. And Facebook, they do a good job of keeping the spammers out. I belong to quite a few different business closed Facebook groups where we have a lot of good business discussions in the IT and MSP space. There's really a complete and utter lack of spam in there.
Interesting.
But Yeah, but then again, I do get the fact that Facebook is trying to monetize your existence in every way possible,
Yeah.
and so yeah,
Well, so my
yeah,
company's not on Facebook at all. Like we don't have a Facebook presence. I don't personally have a Facebook account. Um, I got rid of that a while back, and it's like I don't know. People have said that I would get a lot more views on the videos and stuff like that if I were on Facebook, which I'm sure is true, but I don't know, man. You got to take a stand on some of these things, and I mean, even this week they had another major news story of Zuckerberg letting other companies have access to data that they shouldn't have had access to, and it's like
yeah.
again with this, like what like can you guys not see the writing on the wall? Facebook is not acting in your best interest. Quit it already with
Right.
the Facebook.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. It's like, and I have an unreleased video. I just got busy with, well, the sewer project. It's someone, because I had it in my vlog Thursday because I did it from my house. That it's got me busy and I didn't get all my videos published. But I kind of, one of the things I look at is and you've worked in tech a long time. I've worked in a long time, and uh, I just always have assumed that nothing I ever put on there is private. I assume anything I post on Facebook, anything I even put in a private message is something I said at a restaurant in a crowded place where anyone could have heard me. And once you always think from that perspective, now from a consumer's perspective who's not tech savvy, they kind of betray their trust. And I that is what it is.
Yeah. Well, and that's true, and that's certainly one way to look at it. And I feel like I would have the capacity to not put anything out there that I would, get in trouble for or anything like that. But again, to me, it's just sort of like a principle thing. It's just like
Yeah.
not
No, and
interested in giving them any additional views, for whatever small amount of power I may have in that regard. Like
well, yeah, and like I said, I do agree with you on that. I will admit the other side of it. I do get a lot of business, not as much from my Facebook page business wise, but a local business related to IT. People, I kind of joke, and I think I talked about it in one of my videos. People always ask, "How do you get customers?" I said, I took a selfie at a place and I had all the cabling around me, and someone messaged me that I didn't know very well from the Chamber of Commerce. You look like you do the wiring thing? That was the first thing they said, and they liked my photo, and that person commenting on that led to over $100,000 worth of business, because it turns out the wiring thing that they do, uh, they were the sister of someone who owned a very large company, and they now have been a wonderful client over the last couple of
wow,
years.
well, that's great.
So it's one of those things. It did, but it's also me interacting with people in the chamber. It's hard to build a use case for it. I'm
Right.
for most of what we do, putting on YouTube is where a lot of our business. I'm assuming it's like you're like me for YouTube on that side, the remote business. That's where a lot of that comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. So someone just said turn up your mic a little bit. I turned up my mic a little bit. Let me know if that's any better. I did also want to say that if you guys are interested in Crosstalk T-shirts, you can click the link below, and during this live stream, use the coupon code LIVESTREAM. You will get 10%. Excuse me, 10% off any T-shirt purchase. Tom, you also have T-shirts and merchandise and stuff too, right?
Yes, we do. Yeah, when you go to our channel, you have it. And for the audience, I want to know something. And I've seen this on all the channels, not just like me or Chris. YouTube randomly decides not to show our T-shirts, but instead they show ads, and it's always been from Newegg, everyone I've ever seen.
Hmm.
Because I probably look at tech all the time. So they say, well, once in a while my shirts don't show. And I don't really, I mean, there's always a link in the description. But once in a while they choose a different thing that goes there. So
Well,
I don't
we
know.
we are all beholden to the almighty algorithm, right? So who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows what they do? But
So yeah, there's always the mystery of dealing with YouTube, and everyone that thinks they have it figured out. I just cram content out. I don't try to spend too much of my time trying to game their system, because there's not. They change it by the time you figure it out. It's changed.
right. No, I hear that for sure. Okay, so other things. We're gonna do a couple giveaways on this live stream. I talked about one. Was it yesterday? Man, I don't remember when videos get released. I guess it was yesterday. I did a video on these little iClever devices. So I'm gonna give away a pair of these. That's a $27.99 value, United States USD. And if you go find my video where I did these, put a comment on it. This is your last chance to go put a comment on that video to enter yourself into the contest. US folks only, please, because, man, international shipping's expensive. One time I was giving away some rack studs. You know what rack studs are?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's little just rack studs, and I was giving away like a 20 pack or a 100 pack of rack studs and I opened it up internationally. And to ship the rack studs out for the people that won, I think cost me around $60 because they were both international. So
Wow.
so I shipped out about $4.95 worth of product for $60. I was like,
You know,
ay, ay,
that
ay.
we avoided that. So I had bought another business in 2004, I think. Yeah, 2004. I had bought another tech company, and we liquidated a lot of the stuff on eBay they had because it was electronics repair more so than like computer tech. And so they had a lot of stuff that was great for eBay. And boy, I learned all kinds of things about international shipping and problems with it, especially shipping tech in and out. Like it's expensive. We finally turned off anything international because it turned to be such a pain.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's unfortunate.
Oh, and that's the same thing with, with these contests and stuff. It's like I would love to open it up internationally, but it's just, it's just too expensive. And like I said, it's something I'm doing for free. The money comes out of my own pocket. So, sorry
Yeah.
guys. The other thing that I'm going to give away here is one of these guys. Okay, so this is a Wi-Fi stand. I did a video on this one as well not that long ago. Tom, you might have some use for one of these.
That thing was kind of cool. We looked at it, and I was like, it's the first time, I'm like, what is it? Then I'm like, oh, we actually have a use case that's a little different for it. I thought it was a neat video. We have once in a while been asked about setting up temporary Wi-Fi for venues that need more Wi-Fi because they're doing something with a bunch of laptops and they need more than whatever the venues they rented Wi-Fi is capable of handling from a capacity standpoint. And I'm like, those might work because you can just go set them all up, run them all there. They're easy like to set up and break down and have Wi-Fi scattered around the room.
Yeah. No, and so for something like you were talking about with the bowling alley or somewhere where you're
Mhm.
setting up, temporary access points to sort
That
of
too.
show off, hey, this is the coverage we could get you. These will work really well, and they work with any, of the integrated, what's it called, the drop ceiling rail
Yeah.
mounting systems. And Ubiquiti, I found out, does have one, but you have to buy their Pro mount in order to do that. Now I've bought a Pro mount now. It's on order, but I haven't actually tested it out yet. Have you ever used that Ubiquiti Pro mount?
I have not used a pro mount. We mostly just use the little plate, and
Yeah.
we corner mount some of them close to the corner so we can get, because they're those HDs are a little heavier. That's the project where my other staff is all out doing right now is we're installing the 300 Unify APC HDs, and yeah, so we're making sure we use the plate so it doesn't sag the
Right.
ceiling tile. As I've actually seen a lot of people do that. They put it right in the middle, going, I want to center this, and then over time it suddenly doesn't look that good.
Yeah. Well, tell me about that 300 AP project. You don't have to give too much away because I know you're doing
Oh
a
no.
video on it, but I'd love to hear a
Oh no,
little bit
no.
about it.
This is gonna be a fun project. Well, we're in the middle of all the fun, and we're swapping it out from another company that was charging just an absurd amount to completely manage their Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Literally, this company has internal IT staff, so them purchasing the equipment and then paying us to install them, it's only about 6 months ROI before they will completely cover how much this company charges them a monthly fee.
Wow. What was the previous equipment, or what was the brand?
Oddly, Unify. So
Oh, really?
they were doing it with the same Unify. Well, it was all old Unifys. They only had 2.4. They were the early ones. This was installed in like 2014,
Huh.
and yeah, they're like, they haven't upgraded us to 5 gigahertz. They still have all old equipment. So the good news is we're able to reuse existing infrastructure in terms of cabling. We just had to replace all the switches, replace all the Wi-Fi units, and they would give us none of the usernames and passwords for anything. So we had to we just reset it all up
Yeah.
for all the residents of this. It's like an apartment complex, and we're using there's the part that's tricky, but where it gets fun and detailed is when they sell upgraded access. Obviously, when you set everyone to IP access point isolation, so they can't see each other. Well, then residents that want to buy an upgrade, they get an upgraded device, and that device bridges their network. So things like their Chromecast or IoTs comes on another network. And what it does is it grabs the 5 gigahertz networks and bridges it and NATs it over to a 2.4 in their office. Actually, that backwards. It grabs a 2.4 and then broadcasts 5 inside their apartment, and then they can connect all their devices to it with it behind a NAT.
Interesting.
And we just put those in a list with the MAC addresses, and we sell them. And it's basically an upgraded service, one-time fee. They buy the device. Now they can have internet access in their apartment and not have it joined in with everybody else's internet.
Huh. Well, that's cool.
It's pretty slick. It's been kind of challenging. It's got captive portals, logins, and things like that. PF Sense at the head end, Free Radius doing all the authentication.
Yeah.
So it's all up and running. It's pretty. It's a little bit intricate, but I'm gonna do like a top to bottom setup because it's not. Once you know where to look, it's not really hard to do.
Right.
So I just got to make a good step-by-step guide.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's always the key to everything, right? Documentation. Yeah,
Yes.
it's funny. What do you think about this situation that we ran into this situation, I guess, last week where we had a client who is a retirement home out in North Carolina, right? And retirement homes are really decent business because they usually don't have IT staff, so they're usually looking for everything to be managed. So it's a good ongoing business. As long as you set them up right, they're also very sort of low maintenance customers, right?
Hmm.
So we had this retirement home, and about 2 or 3 months ago, they called us and they said, "Hey, our phone system is down. We have to be up. Like we're required by law to be online, and that sort of stuff." And I guess they were almost to get in trouble with the local government or the state government or something for not having their phone system up. And they finally called us like 3 or 4 days after it had been down, and they said, "We need you guys to come out here and fix this thing." And so we tried to do what we could remotely, but the server was just offline, inaccessible, etc. We tried to have them reboot it, nothing was working. And so we had to send, luckily, we have a guy in North Carolina, but he was about 4 hours away from their site. So he dropped everything he was doing. The next day, he drove 4 hours out to their site, got them up and running. Turns out it was literally just a power issue. The server had gone offline because of a UPS problem.
Oh,
And basically, so he went out there, he fixed them up, he updated their server to the latest, he did some maintenance while he was out there, just made sure everything was fine, and then drove back. And of course, we send them a bill for that, right? We send them a
yeah.
bill, and it was a pretty hefty bill because it was 8 hours of driving plus, 2 or 3 hours on site.
Yep.
And they're not paying the bill, and they're not paying the bill, and they're not paying the bill. And I'm reminding them, sending them emails, sending them paper copies of the bill, calling them regularly. Hey, what's going on with this? Anyways, they now have been taken over by a different company.
Oh,
And the different
and the other company
company,
doesn't want to assume the liabilities, I'm sure.
the different company wrote us and they said, "Listen, we were sort of forced to take over this retirement home or the operation of this retirement home. And and we need the phone system passwords." Basically is what they said. And I wrote them back very nicely. I'm like, "Listen, yeah, that's absolutely fine. We have everything that you need. We have full access to the phone system. We can get you in there. There is, however, the matter of this, over $1,000 bill that you guys owe us. I mean, the retirement home owes us this money, and so we're I'll give you your passwords, but I'm not interested in doing any work for you until this is paid up. It's been like 3 months since this bill was paid." And they wrote me back and they basically said, "Yeah, we're not going to ever pay that."
Wow.
So I gave him the passwords because I'm a nice guy and I don't want to hold their phone system hostage. But like, what do you think about something like that? Like, what's your recourse in that case?
It's unfortunate, and we just had this conversation this morning because we've had to take losses on things, and for me it's a little bit different because we are newer to doing things remotely when it comes to like YouTube and things like that, because the 300 businesses roughly that we do IT support for right now are within 30 miles of
Yeah,
us,
sure.
almost all of them. So we have repoed things. We've just removed things. We just like, you didn't pay for the server. We got the deposit. You didn't do it. And Steve is my repo guy because he just likes doing it. There's something there's some joy he takes in removing things. So we've had to do that where either we've stood, or Steve likes the awkward standing in front of the financial officer until someone writes a check. But we've got other times where a guy stiffed us on a smaller bill. It was like for $400. And he was about an hour away. I would have had to file a small claims court, and at some point, driving an hour to file small claims, hoping he gets the claim, and there's no way to really get recourse against some of these businesses. I would have to then sue him further, and it's like the bill's $400 at some point.
Yeah, your time and money is worth a lot more than that.
Yeah, and that's one of those little hangups. It really is terrible, and sometimes you just have to take a loss on it. I wish there was an easier way to do it. It's even harder if they're out of state to sue them.
Yeah.
And the cost right away, as soon as the lawyer gets involved with suing him, you're immediately going to some type of way more expensive than the bill was.
Sure.
Yeah. We do as much as we can with a lot of the YouTube stuff. Lessons learned has been just pre-billing a lot of it. We just need the money up front for as much as when there's scope creep, we start asking for more money again before we finish it because there's simply no recourse.
Right.
We had scope creep on a job in Quebec. We just did. And, the customer was really cool about it. They realized because what they told me and what really happened were two different things.
Sure.
No big deal. And I looked at it and we said, okay, we'll bill you this much. And they paid it and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like I said, and I know there are other companies out there that might hold on to those passwords and be like, ha ha ha, we have this leverage over you. But on the other hand, it's their phone system. They paid for the phone system. They somehow got it. And by the way, it wasn't this new management's fault. I mean that the old management didn't write anything down, or they didn't have access to any of the old passwords and stuff. It's not their fault. So yeah, it was kind of a tough spot, but ultimately we kind of just decided to eat it.
Yeah, that's just kind of it over time, and even that company, I looked them up a couple times because I kept up with them. They went bankrupt, and so
Yeah.
it turned really crazy. Uh, it turns out they owed someone else I knew owed them a bunch of money, unrelated business. They're like, yeah, that guy owes me all kinds of money. I'm like, really?
Huh.
And it was a guy it was a small world where you end up going, oh, you did work from too. Yeah, he never paid me. He didn't pay that person a lot more money.
Yeah. All right, so one other thing, speaking of money, we do have super chats enabled. And so if you guys are interested in giving us a super chat, put that down into the comments. I think it's on the YouTube page somewhere, something like that. And the super chats for this live stream aren't going into our pockets. The super chats for this live stream, we will be donating to some worthy open source projects. So the open source project that I am going to be donating to is Crosstalk Solutions. No, I'm just kidding. Is Pi-hole. So you guys are probably familiar with Pi-hole. It is basically an ad blocking service. It works off of your DNS, and they keep up an updated list of various sort of bad sites or advertising sites. And if your local internal devices send requests out to those sites, it just intercepts them and says, nope, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to go to that site. So it helps with malware. It helps with ad trackers and those sorts of things. I cannot do videos on Pi-hole on my channel because you will, if you do, you will likely get demonetized. So this is how I can help them out instead of doing videos.
Yes. And by the way, the Pi-hole feeds are the same feeds that work for PF Blocker inside of PF Sense. So those are kind of one and the same. I've worried too about doing some of those videos because I have a few PF Blocker videos and setting it up. And yeah, YouTube doesn't like when you talk about the words and blocking.
Yeah, ad blocking. Yeah, like I said, there have been people that have been demonetized for this kind of thing. So I won't show you how to do it. But I am certainly happy to donate my portion super chat. Anyone who feels like super chatting in there, we'll split it 50-50 between Pi-hole and Tom. Who have you picked today?
So there are currently 699 videos on my channel, and they were edited, I think, almost all of them except maybe the first couple with Kdenlive, which is part of the KDE project. And I've done reviews on KDE Neon, the distro and interface, and Kdenlive is a sub-project to that. They don't have a specific donation that goes directly to Kdenlive when you donate money to the KDE project. They have a lot of different open source projects they go to, but they will, I think you can make a note if you say put it specifically towards this project. But either way, the KDE organization is awesome, and they have a great sense of humor. They had a great Black Friday sale. They're open source, everything's free, but they did let you know everything was free on Black Friday. They changed their website around for it. I thought it was great.
How funny. Yeah, so Kdenlive, and also if you do give us any sort of super chat and ask a question, your question is guaranteed to be answered by us. We will stop what we are doing, and we will answer whatever question you super chat us. So that is now ongoing. One thing that I did want to talk about today, though, is IoT. And this is one of those new buzzwords. It's like, cloud computing was, 5 years ago. Send things to the cloud, right? Or that sort of stuff. ASP, whatever, who knows? Anyways, IoT is a new buzzword, and I feel like a lot of people throw around the words IoT or the phrase IoT, and they don't really understand what they're talking about. And so I just wanted to sort of cover that a little bit. And the reason why I say people don't know what they're talking about is I did a live stream a little while ago where I was talking about my recommended holiday gifts for 2018, right? And one of the gifts on there was a smart scale. And I actually love this thing. I love this smart scale. But basically what it is a bathroom scale. You stand on it. It connects with Bluetooth to an app on your phone. And, it shows you all your details, your weight. It keeps your history of weight. It keeps your, BMI and, all these different little, like there's 10 different measurements that it takes when you step on the scale. really cool little device. And someone, I think in the comments when I was talking about it, said, oh yeah, when your scale is phoning home to China. And I was like, I don't think you quite understand how IoT works, because people, I think, hear IoT and they just immediately think that every IoT device in existence has the capability and is actively sending all of your personal information to China. And that's not really true. So in the case of this bathroom scale, to me there's like 3 levels of IoT devices. The bathroom scale is the lowest level of IoT device. I don't even know if it's considered IoT. It's Bluetooth. Okay, so it's not Wi-Fi connected. It's Bluetooth to an app on my phone. So it could, maybe the app could be compromised, and that data could get to China somehow, but why would they care about my weight out in China? I don't understand why that would even be valuable information for some other entity to have. So that's a very, very low risk IoT device, right, I would say.
Now, and it is funny because in related to that, it's low risk for me or you. And of course, we found out when, what was it? Is it My Fitness Tracker? They realized where a bunch of military bases were because a bunch of military people had it and they could map where they were doing their jogs.
Oh, so, that's interesting.
Yeah, because they were, I think it was MyFitnessPal, and it would share it online, and then people aggregated all the data. And it turns out at military facilities, they had maps of the run patterns of all the things. So there is kind of an edge attack, but it's actually not from a security standpoint in terms of sending your data. No, that wasn't where it takes. And you're right. A lot of people assume there's a whole lot of information on there. And if anything, China may find out how overweight Americans are, but I don't think they need a device for that.
No, I'm sure that's already well documented. as I know from my scale, and I'm just right in the yellow zone on so many of those indicators. It's like, darn it. Yeah, so then that's like one type of device, which I think that's very, very low risk. But then when I was evaluating this thing, so the iClever smart Wi-Fi plug. Okay, so this is an IoT device. Like, this is specifically what I consider to be an IoT device. And because it's Wi-Fi enabled, right? So this connects with 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. It connects right onto my network, and it phones home. Okay, so it is always on the internet if I want to affect my lights, if I want to turn a light switch on and off, or, turn off the plug. And I found that out when I was going through the video, and I looked at the device information, and it popped up my WAN IP address. And I was like, huh. So then I turned off my Wi-Fi, and I was able to turn a light on and off using LTE without making any changes to the device whatsoever. So that, to me, is a little bit scarier, because this is the type of the device that can either be compromised through firmware at the factory, or maybe somehow compromised if, I don't know. This is the type of device, though, that you hear about getting compromised. And so this is the type of device that, me personally, I will be putting into a segregated IoT network, because I don't want anyone accessing this thing somehow, or it accessing anything on my network and reporting that information somewhere else.
So, and this is one of them. This is one of the reasons I recommend a lot of commercial routers to people, because they don't have UPnP turned on. And a lot of these will use UPnP. They go, hey, look, I can tell your firewall to turn on these ports or those ports. Now, by default, when you use UPnP, it wants to turn on the ports related to getting back to itself. But as a device, it can actually open up the ports to point it wherever it wants. And from a lateral movement perspective, if something can get into that, then they can move laterally through your network to get to other things, which is why, like you said, this should be on a separate network called Internet of Insecure Things. Yeah. So actually, that's what ours is labeled, Internet of Insecure Things, because that's where we put all those. I don't really trust this device.
Yeah.
We also don't have UPnP on, so they are kind of forced into just doing NAT proxy to get their communications in and out. But You're right. Those things are built by the lowest bidder. It's a race to the zero margin market building these devices, which is why they're so inexpensive. But that also means shortcuts were made. They usually don't update the firmware. They're like, hey, look, it works with this 5-year-old Linux kernel. And,
Right.
it still has every vulnerability in the SSL stack. And one of the things we've noticed from a few security researchers is they'll do things like copy the same SSH keys when they build them instead of building it so it generates a new one on boot. Well, that takes too long. Then the first time the consumer turns it on, it's got to generate a new key set. Well, don't bother with that. Just image it exactly the same. So if anyone ever takes one apart and finds one SSH key, you have all the SSH
Right.
keys.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where they present a lot of risk in terms of that. There's not enough quality standards going into them.
Yeah.
And I've seen someone mention the other IoTs, the hockey pucks, as I was calling them the other day, the Google Home,
Home Mini. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Home Mini, the Amazon
Echo
Dot.
Yep.
The Echo Dot. So those are a little bit different because I do overall think that they make a secure device that I'm not worried about them punching a hole in my network. But now you've literally just turned on a listening device.
Yep.
So those, I don't care if they're on an IoT network. That's a different problem when you have those on.
Perfect.
And if you've seen the news, did you see what?
No, but I was going to say perfect segue because that was literally the third type of IoT device I was going to talk about. And you just said exactly what I was going to say, is that these devices, it's not a concern with security with those devices because Google and Amazon have a lot to lose in terms of, if those devices were cracked or somehow compromised, it would destroy a lot of their revenue. So they're very careful about the security side, but it's the privacy aspect of those devices that really concerns me. And that's why I won't have one in my house.
Yeah, I don't think I can paste the link, so I'm just going to paste the title and people can see it. Amazon reveals private Alexa voice data files. So they all have recording and they keep an archive of all that recording so they can do analysis, things like that. And under GDPR, if you're in Europe, you can say, I would like all my recordings. And someone did that. They sent them to the wrong person. So in complying with GDPR to that person, they violated GDPR by sending them to the wrong individual. And that individual that received this person's 1,700 recordings was able to determine who that person was. So we're going to get to find out just how good that legal team is over there at Amazon in dealing with this fiasco. But it just kind of proved positive that they have absolutely collected this information.
Sure. Yeah, and there's been legal cases where they've had to give it up, and they I think it was not that long ago I read that a judge in a legal case did order the Amazon to give up whatever recordings they had on a particular situation.
Yeah, so it can be very interesting. And I mean, granted, I've actually done some testing with these. They're not sending an absolute stream of data, at least the times I tested them. So that it is subjective. You would see if they were pumping out data, like recording my voice constantly. They do look for hot words to trigger them, and I won't say it in case some of our listeners here
Alexa, Alexa, play Billy Ray Cyrus.
So, I know it is kind of funny when you do that. But when they're looking for those hot words, a lot of things sound like hot words. So as you are wandering around the house, it hears an echo that sounds like the hot word. We've learned from these people doing these recordings that's a lot of times what it picked up. We were playing with Alexa. I can't remember what we said. We found a phrase when we first got our Alexa here. We have one at the office that we use for this type of testing. People are like, how do you call yourself a security company with those? I'm like, no, these are games we play. They're on the insecure network, and then we turn them back off. We literally leave them unplugged in the other room.
Right.
We're just curious how they work. We've seen them in a lot of places, but they can obviously present a lot of risk.
People are not liking the Alexa comments. All right.
Oh, should I say, hey, Google?
Yeah, do a hey, Google.
Hey, Google. Hey, Google. By the way, that's also turned off on my phone. So my phone is not set to actively listen. I do have a Pixel phone, and people ask, well, if you care about security, you shouldn't have a Google phone. At some point, you need a phone.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. Well, and again, just like security, right? You're talking about the guy who has locked down security so much that it was absolutely ridiculous. There is a fine balance between the amount of security that you are implementing and the usability for the customer, right? Or for the end user. Okay, there's a balance there, and it has to be nicely balanced. To me, it's the same thing with privacy. There's a good balance between feature functionality and the amount of privacy that you're willing to exchange for that feature functionality, right? So
exactly.
I don't know. To me, I think I'm scaled a little bit more towards the the other side where I don't want to give away any of my information. I don't like having any of my apps phoning home, any of that sort of stuff. But then again, I've got a Tesla which is constantly connected to the internet and telling Tesla where I'm driving and how much I'm doing and that sort of stuff.
And General Motors was just in trouble for they were monitoring and aggregating data for what channels based on their OnStar you were listening to in what cities and aggregating this data to sell to advertisers. And you're like, wait a minute, I bought a car, not an advertising agreement to monetize my existence. I get that. I get companies like, Facebook, we get something for free because we're trading our existence to be monetized for them. But you didn't. Yeah, GM, come on, guys.
Right.
At least Tesla, I feel as though they're doing better stuff with the data.
Do you have you guys have self-serve gas stations where they play ads while you're pumping your gas?
Oh man, I hate those. Yes.
Oregon is all full serve, so we don't have those. But like when I drove down to California, I saw it.
I forgot. Didn't they change the law there so you can have not full serve or something?
Not that I've seen. Well, of course, now I go to the gas station so regularly. My wife's car is the only one that uses gas. So, and she's driving my car most of the time. So
because you don't drive as much.
No, I don't. We don't drive nearly as much. So I haven't been in a while. But as far as I know, it's still all full serve, at least out where I live. We did get a super chat. £5 from Quickfire UK. Thank you so much for that. It says Merry Christmas and well done. Are you a Merry Christmas guy or are you a Happy Holidays guy, Tom?
I have no idea. I never think about it.
Okay, well, that's a happy Holidays guy then.
Yeah, I am so not. I'm just generally not someone who cares about Christmas. I'm like, it's like I have to sort everything out and then do all these things and it disrupts me. So I'm not ever in the Christmas spirit. I never have been.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Happy Holidays guy because I like including everyone and
Yeah. I do that a lot. So
right.
I say it. We don't put anything about my shop is completely not Christmas decorated at all. We're boring. Yeah. None of us here.
Well, I wouldn't say you're too boring. You got Mario plastered all over your bathroom.
Oh yeah, we have we geek out. We just don't Christmas out.
That's right. Andrew Knows Tech, $2 super chat from Andrew Knows Tech. Thank you so much. He says, "What is that picture behind you, Chris?" This is.
I'm trying to.
Something else. I'm changing it. This is my new toy. There's a good looking picture.
Oh, cool.
So this is called a mural. MEU. Here, I'll pull it up on my screen.
I like it.
I just bought this for myself. You can put up different images. It has a whole subscription of art, 30,000 different artworks that you can basically push right to the screen. There it is, Mural, MEURAL.com, mural.com, and you can also put up your own pictures. Everything's controlled through an app, and it looks, Tom, I can't explain it to you. It looks like a real picture. It looks like
so is it like e-ink but color?
Yes, it's like a color e-ink, like really high quality picture frame with a service. Okay. And you can also put your own pictures up there. Here, I will show you my type of art. Let's see here. Where's my favorites? So here's the type of art that I like. Wait for it. It's coming. Boom. There we go. I don't know. It might take a while to catch up on your on your screen. That's a picture I took of the Tesla superchargers up here in Lincoln City.
What do these things cost?
So the mural was about $600.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's decent size. I have a mount for it that you can swivel it horizontal or portrait or landscape, and it changes the art that's displayed based on its orientation.
Oh, cool.
So it's a really neat device. When I saw it, though, I was like, man, that's pretty awesome. And then you can actually like wave up, and it will show you. It'll show you like a bunch of information about whatever piece of art is being displayed.
That's pretty neat. There's a lot of art all over my house.
Oh, okay.
There's we like my hallway. I started as a little bit of just a handful of galleries. Some are paintings from local artists that I've paid good money for. I have a few friends in the art business, and I love that. So I'm really looking at that because that actually would solve a problem where we've actually run out of wall space in a couple areas.
Yeah,
and
And it's
Yeah.
neat because it'll like, you could put it on a schedule. So like every half an hour, every hour, it rotates the picture and and then goes from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done a couple live streams in my house, and people have noticed my house is kind of got it's like a blood red is the paint. We've got like a red and black theme with art kind of around the house with a lot of it's kind of modern looking. It's a little bit different, and that's why we like it. So people come over there and they go, "Oh, look at all the art and like canvases and things like that." But that's cool because then I could fill a space really big. It's like a worthwhile investment. I've paid
Yeah.
more than that for the art pieces.
Well, that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, man, I looked at that and immediately I was like, I want one of those because that thing is awesome. And I'm not even like an art connoisseur kind of person, I'm like, I don't appreciate art. I don't know artists. I don't know art history, anything like that. But I know if I look at something, if I like it or not.
Yeah, that's how my sister's an art history major, which means she's almost unemployable. So she's far opposite from me. But my sister loves all the art stuff too. So I think a little bit of it carried over my enjoyment of it. So
Yeah. Yeah, and so people are asking questions about it. Let's see. Are you concerned about image burn-in? I'm not, actually. I think it's a screen that's designed to be on all the time. And by the way, I think Samsung just came out with a very similar thing that's an actual television that when it's turned off, it's displaying art, like an e-ink display.
yeah, and if you look at how e-ink works, it works on different principles. I think we had I don't know if I did a video. We had an e-ink that died, and it came in for recycling. And even if you disassemble the e-ink, it still works, like completely, just a circuit board. Once it's set, it stays with no power to it.
Huh.
It's really neat. They don't require any power. It only requires power to change the picture, but the picture staying does it. That's so if you use the ink a lot, if you just leave it there, that's how it can last like 2 or 3 months without any battery. It's only when you're using it that's using any power. And when we physically unplugged the circuit board and we took the screen out because we want to see what it looked like and we cut it apart, we're like, this is neat because it still has the thing on it.
Yeah.
I think it's mounted to our wall somewhere. We have all kinds of weird things like that mounted on our walls when we take things apart at the office here.
Well, okay, let's see. It's 10:45 right now, Pacific Standard Time. If you guys have questions for myself or Tom, now is the time. Pop your questions into the chat and we'll talk about it. We don't really have anything scheduled to talk about. I wanted to sort of cover IoT stuff, but, we kind of covered that. And yeah, let's see. I love these guys. Oh, Mike Johnston, thank you. Appreciate that. I recently went full Ubiquiti at home because of them. Cameras are next. All right, there you go. Have you worked at all with Unify Protect yet, Tom?
I have not.
Me either.
It's kind of been on my to-do list. I don't know. It feels like it needs to be a more developed product.
There was a lot of controversy about Protect, being that they have, officially stated, Ubiquiti has officially stated that Protect is not going to be, you can't self-install Protect.
Right.
And so, but because of that, they're also saying that, well, we're also not going to end of life Unify Video. I don't know if I fully trust them on that because it seems like they're moving towards Protect. But if they want to capture the higher end market, the highest level server that you can get Protect on is the Unify application server, which is actually, to their credit, is significantly powerful. The CPU and RAM in that thing is decent, but it only has two 2-terabyte hard drives in a RAID 1 formation that you can replace with bigger hard drives. But once you replace those hard drives with the biggest hard drives that you can get, 10 or 12 gig, whatever it'll take, now that's it. You cannot go beyond that. We just sold 2 NVRs with 8 by 8 terabyte RAID 10 arrays. So there's definitely a market for bigger NVRs out there.
Yeah, and we've done the same. We've sold some big NVRs for some of the Unify projects. The one I covered was for that family fun zone. That's a big NVR. I can't remember how many terabytes they have, but it's quite a bit. And yeah, they needed all that storage to be able to store the data. The Protect, like you said, wouldn't really. You need more drives in it.
Yeah, yeah. So my suspicion, and again, I don't have any inside information from Ubiquiti, you guys. This is literally just my speculation. I think they are probably planning on coming out with a larger NVR that has more hard drive space and more options for customization of drives and stuff. But it's not out yet, and so that's my guess is they'll come out with something bigger that will cover sort of a bigger audience of NVR customers, and then they'll probably end of life Unify Video. That would be my guess.
Right. And I think, I think it'd be great if we could find some good open source project. I know ZoneMinder is kind of if you've seen, there's a new fork of it essentially called Shinobi. I think it's a fork of it or somewhat based on some similar code. It's another open source NVR that's coming out. And I think that's all interesting because once we get into the larger commercial space that we do, we don't use the Unify. We use a lot of Exact-Vision. And that's because I can't imagine building a 600 camera Unify system.
Yeah.
But I have we have these large scale Exact-Vision systems, but they're out of the reach of a lot of consumers. I mean, their licensing alone, it's $125 per camera you plug into it. That's to get you started. So you have 100 cameras, you've got some money you got to spend on it before you even bought the server. That's just the licenses fees that go with it.
Right.
But it's a solid, scalable system, and I know that's where Unify is trying to go. And it's always the challenge. A lot of the times when people contact us, go, "Hey, my Unify NVR doesn't work," we log into it and we find out they built it on some old crappy box. I'm like, and I'm sure that's a lot of support problems Unify themselves have. People complaining about the Unify NVR not working properly, and the person underbuilt the box for how many cameras they have.
Oh yeah, and I've seen that. I've seen the actual Unify NVR. Not the newer 2 terabyte version, but the older one. I saw it crap out at 10 cameras, where it was so laggy, it was almost unusable. I replaced it with one of my NVR 10s when they upgraded to 12 cameras, and perfect, worked great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's definitely going to be a challenge for them, figuring out that market if they want to really go into that market. Yeah. So gonna be something interesting. I'm kind of interested in the future of Unify in general. I think they're a great company. I think they have a good future, but there's a couple of products that like their USGs, when are they going to get more features? And the Unified video cameras, are they going to go to a next level market?
Yeah, I'm due to release. I'm going to hopefully, I don't know, again, this has been on my to-do list for so long, but I'd like to do a new USG versus Edge router video. Because there's a lot of stuff that you just still can't do with the USG. Case in point, just yesterday, I had someone contact me because they have a USG, they have a secondary WAN connection, and apparently you cannot do port forwarding on your secondary WAN connection, period.
Right. And they still, and to my knowledge, this hasn't been addressed or is even on a roadmap. If someone has a block of IPs assigned to a single WAN connection, that's a JSON file edit too. There's not a way to do it through the UI.
And
I'm like,
and we do not touch JSON editing, period. We just will not do it for any customer.
Yeah, I don't want to support it. That's why I tell people no on that. It's just like, it just gets to be a headache and I don't want to deal with it. I've messed with it, and that's enough to tell me I don't want to mess with it anymore.
Yeah. All right, so we got a couple super chats here. Andrew Knows Tech, another super chat, $5. Thank you so much, Andrew. What would you suggest for a phone system for a 2-person office? And frankly, what I suggest for that level of office, anywhere from 2 to 8 phones, you're going to be fine with one of the per phone per month services. All right, so like a Grasshopper, Ring Central, 8x8, right? All of those companies are going to be relatively cost effective compared to a competing free PBX build your own solution in that space. Once you hit about 10 phones and higher, then you start the ROI on building it yourself or going with free PBX or buying a crosstalk PBX, for instance, gets much, much better. But yeah, under 10, I always just say, go with a Ring Central or something, and that's going to be the best. Because not only do they have they're okay priced at that level, but they also have full support, right? So you can call them if you need any changes, if you need anything done, and you're not going to have to pay extra for the support, which is definitely a plus. Another $5 super chat from Mike Johnston. Thank you so much, Mike. You didn't ask a question. If you want to ask a question, go ahead and pop that into the comments.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
Let's see here. Oh, someone is spamming us. I don't know what that is. Mike just said beer on me. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Let's see. USG with a VOLID in Cloud Key is missing. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see. Nils says, Mitel Telepo cloud platform is great for small offices with just mobiles. Okay, I'm not familiar with that, so I can't tell you, but it sounds similar to Ring Central, something like that. Mike Johnson says, actually think there will be a Ubiquiti camera sale after Christmas. My guess is no, and the reason being is there is such a So just yesterday, my supplier was able to send out 11 G3 Pro cameras that I ordered for a customer in September. Okay, so there's such a shortage of cameras, and we're always running into problems with, especially the 5 packs of the domes and the G3 bullets. There's such a shortage of cameras that I can't imagine that they would put them on sale. There's plenty of demand there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, the demand is so high on their products. We've run into product shortages a lot. We were lucky when we ordered the 300 of these Unify APC HDs that they had them. We made sure we planned ahead of time because look, there's shortages. We just had one. We got enough of those switches for that job, but there was another job that came up that the person didn't plan ahead very well. So we ended up trying to rush order, and we had to pay the Amazon ransom. It was 40% more because they had it in stock. This person really needed one of the really high wattage Unify switches that no one had in stock for a week.
40 US 48 750 watt.
Yep.
Yep.
So that's what they needed. No one had it, and they had to pay the Amazon. Someone had an Amazon, but it was like 20 or 30% over MSRP.
Yeah. Yeah, and we see that same thing with the cameras too. Like I can get the cameras, but I don't want to pay so much money for the cameras, and I don't want to. I don't think it's fair to charge my customers for it unless they absolutely need it. We did have to do that with the Gen 2 cloud keys recently. We had to pay full MSRP for I think 2 or 3 of them for different clients because once again my supplier just didn't have them in, still doesn't have them in, as a matter of fact. So yeah, that's someone was asking. When are they going to come up with a USG with a built-in cloud key? And I think that's a decent idea. I try to think of the downsides of things like that, and
It seems like it would be easy to do. I kind of like it as a concept because I wish more equipment that was smaller was rack mountable. Because even these small businesses, we frequently put a small little IDF box mounted on a wall. It'd be nice if everything was just rack mounted. I know they have the bracket now finally to mount them, which is nice. But yeah, just put it all rack mount and make my life easy because it just looks pretty.
Yeah.
And if you integrated the cloud key in it, bonus, that way I can have a 1U of my rack use. It just covers all the things I need for a small office.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I don't know. I kind of like that the cloud key is separate, as long as they kept it so that you could still back up your cloud key and then restore it somewhere else if you had to, so that you could. I mean, my concern would be you have all your stuff on the USG and you have the cloud key on the USG, or the Unify running on the USG, and then either the USG dies or you just want to replace it at some point. Now you have the extra headache of like, okay, what do I do with the Unify, right? So that's the only downside to it, I guess. But anyways, and we're gonna do. So we're 5 minutes till the top of the hour, guys. At the top of the hour, I will do the first giveaway. So just FYI, stay tuned for that. Team Rampage Services, $5 super chat. Thank you for that. A question I've been wanting to ask is making a local free PBX working on my phone with a VPN for making and taking calls when I'm in the field. So you can absolutely do that with any free PBX soft phone, but you just have to have VPN separate, meaning that you have to have, in your phone, you go to the settings, whatever VPN, turn on your VPN first and connect it, and then connect your soft phone, and you'll work fine over VPN. But there isn't, to the best of my knowledge, a phone that will actually initiate the VPN as part of its software. Although I believe they may be doing that once Zulu Mobile comes out, which is Sangoma's sort of official unified communications platform. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, and we do something similar. We have our VPN and PF Sense, and we're not using the one free PBX. The same thing. We have our phones. We connect to OpenVPN, and then we use Zoiper.
Zoiper's a good little phone for the smartphones.
Yeah, I bought the paid version. I like it a lot.
Oh, you shelled out the 99 cents, huh, Tom?
Oh, I know, man. I'm a big spender, and we've been really happy with it. All of us have it on our phones, and it's worked really, really well.
Yeah. So there's Zoiper. There's also the Bria soft phone, which I think is a little bit more expensive. Bria, I think, is $4.99 or $9.99. Both of them work well. Zoiper, though, you can't beat it. It's a free phone, and if you want to enable call recording and conferencing. I think those are the 2 features. You pay 99 cents, you get those extra features. So
Yeah, I think there's a transfer that you don't get until you pay the 99 cents.
oh,
But
okay,
yeah,
that might be what it is too. Yeah, transferring something like that. But for most people, who just need to make phone calls. They don't even need to do that. So
yeah. Someone had asked a question about, and I'll address it a little bit, like managing how many technicians you assign based on endpoints. And that's like a question I get a lot from people because they're trying to figure out how to scale their business. And I think it's not the best way to ask the question because when we look at some of my clients that are very needy, they need a lot more tech time than we have some clients that are much less needy. So I kind of answer it like that. It kind of depends on the industry you're in. My experience has been if you manage a bunch of salespeople and they're your end users on those endpoints, they need a lot. Salespeople just don't seem to be tech savvy unless they're technical salespeople. Versus we have an engineering firm, we don't hear from them. Those guys, if they call, it's because there's a serious problem because these guys are high level engineers and they just seem to be very, very tech savvy. So
yeah,
I could have like one tech managing like 1,000 of those guys. If they have a question, it's because something really isn't working.
yeah. Brian Neufeld says Cloud Key should be morphed into a redundant controller. I'd put them in various spots of my network. I've had issues where a fiber link isn't configured correctly and can't reach the controller. So I like the idea of having the ability to have like I don't even know if it's like an HA, but like a cluster of UniFi controllers. The problem is that UniFi isn't really made for that level of enterprise market. It's more for like the SMB and the Soho market, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right because it's none of that type of functionality is built into the controller itself.
Yeah. Well, so for me, the best redundancy is to host your Cloud Key on a platform like DigitalOcean or Vultr, where you can have automated snapshots of the entire server, and you can also take your regular UniFi backups, right? So as long as you do that, I think you're pretty well protected, and as long as your devices can see the internet, they'll be able to pop out there and connect to it.
Yeah, and then you just, like you said, DigitalOcean, or if you have to run something internal, put it on an HA server, virtualized, and away you go. Don't rely on the Cloud Key. Just build a lot of redundancy into your own network.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's do a giveaway, Tom.
What software do I recommend? Someone asked. I don't know for what. I'll just throw it out there. Anyways,
I recommend all software. Okay, so let's see. So there's someone. I choose UniFi cams because I didn't want Chinese cameras and Access was way too expensive. There are other options besides Access and UniFi that aren't Chinese manufactured. And by the way, I'm pretty sure UniFi cameras are Chinese manufactured. They're just not a Chinese company. Okay, so let's go to. Here we go. So I have a YouTube random comment picker. We're going to refresh this. Right now there are 233 comment threads. Let me refresh it and see if I can get more. Oh, 252. Good. So extra people did put their comments in. You guys have 1 more minute. If you want to put a comment for a chance to win one of these iClever Smart Club plugs, go back to that video, put your comment in now, and I will refresh it in 1 more minute, and then we're going to randomly pick a winner. Do you have any smart plugs, Tom?
Nope, not a one.
They're pretty. I mean, it's funny because it's like I got this device, and I know I have one place where I can most definitely use it, and I have this fan that's up in my bedroom, but it's like up on top of a closet thing where like I can't really reach it that well. So I'm gonna use it for that, and then I can turn the fan on and off from my smartphone, right?
Okay.
But then anything else I can think about it besides like Christmas tree lights or something like that, it's mostly like pranks. Like I want to pull pranks with this thing, you know?
So we've been looking at, and I played with this a little bit, and I just haven't got time to finish it. But my friend is doing it at what we've referred to as the server farm. My friend works in IT, and he owns a farm, literally. And but where you can plug in like relays to the Raspberry Pis and give yourself with your own systems controls for it. So I'm looking at building my own controllers for it. I have not. It's one of those things. It's going to cost me 10 times what you can buy the thing in your hand for.
Yeah,
it's the challenge of doing it
right.
more than anything else.
I thought the only thing I've thought about doing, like the big Raspberry Pi project that I have in mind that I would like to do that I just don't, I think, have the capacity to figure out on my own, If, by the way, if anyone listening to this knows how to do this and wants to help me out with this project, please let me know. I would like a Raspberry Pi that when you plug it in, it just boots up and it starts randomly surfing the web and just doing random web activity. And then the idea would be you could have an array of these things. You could have 10 to 20 of these that you would plug in, and then you could actually simulate larger volumes of traffic being, and for testing Wi-Fi.
That's actually pretty interesting. And I've thought about it a little bit, something similar, because the challenge I have when I've done a couple of my Wi-Fi test videos is how do I really load test this?
That's it.
When I was
It's load testing, right?
Yeah. I just don't have enough people in my office at any given moment because, the Unify APC HD max claim, I know not realistic, but 500 people on it. Okay, let's see what it does with, and how do I get 500 Raspberry Pis even that's cost prohibitive. So what can we do to load test these? Oh, and Raspberry Pis are probably the easiest solution if you started with a Raspberry Pi Zero. But yeah, I think it could be done. I may have to put some thought into it. That might be, I think I can actually help with that well, not me. One of my co-hosts on the podcast could help with that project.
Yeah,
they're
I mean, if I could come up with a way to do that, I would easily put $500 or $600 into 10 Raspberry Pis just to do it, and then be able to have that like mounted to a piece of plywood or something and carry it around, and just put it in different places and fire it up, or maybe split them up 5 and 5. I don't know. It'd be an interesting test, and it would be, like you said, a way to do some level of load testing, if not like a crazy amount, at least something.
Well, and something what I was planning on doing, and maybe we can start with this as a project, is I'll put it all on GitHub, is loading iPerf on there because it's easy enough to load in Linux, and then having an iPerf server on the other side of the Wi-Fi and have them all iPerf at the same time. And have you ever used Ansible?
I have not used Ansible. I know what it is, but I've never actually used it.
It's actually, we did some Ansible videos, and I'm rudimentary at it, but I'm good enough at it that I can set something up in it, and once again put the script out there. But the way to do it would be all the Raspberry Pis would look for an Ansible script, and they would listen. That way you could orchestrate them to pass the same command to all of them at once through one terminal. So I send the command, and every Raspberry Pi I've hooked up automatically goes, all right, I'm going to go do this thing that you just said to do.
Yeah.
Speed test, load test. Everyone go visit Google. Everyone go visit YouTube through like Curl or something like that.
Yeah.
That would simulate the load testing and be kind of fun to play with. I think you've got a very great idea.
Well, I think though, which is good, but I would almost rather see rather than like that type of thing where you could say, hey, all that. And by the way, there is a great use case for that type of thing where you can say Ansible run iPerf on these 20 Raspberry Pis simultaneously, right? There is definitely a use case for that, but what I'm thinking is more of like, here's a list of 100 URLs that I know have, when you go to that URL is going to download somewhere between 1 and 5 megabits worth of data just by loading the page, and then the Raspberry Pis would randomly pick one of those and load a different page every 5 seconds, and each one would be random. Right, so there'd be a lot of different stuff happening at once.
Someone says, build a Raspberry Pi and go on your own YouTube channels and see your own channels.
Oh yeah, bump up your own views. Yeah. Clarence Christian, $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Clarence. Clarence is now holding the record for the amount of money that we're giving to Caden Live and Piehole with this $20 super chat. So you have the record right now. Let's go ahead and do this giveaway. I am at the sandrasires.com random comment picker. Let me refresh this one more time, see if we got any more comments. Right now we're at 252 comments on that video. Oh, now we're at 276. So your chances are going to be one out of 276 to win this first giveaway, which is the 2-pack of iClever whatever these are, smart Wi-Fi plugs. I do not guarantee that they are not compromised with Chinese firmware. Okay, let's see. Randomly pick winner. I guess there's no drum roll or anything. It's very anticlimactic. All right, we're going to hit the button. Boom. Gary Grobard. Any concern that this is internet enabled? Immediately we pick a comment with someone who's concerned about it. Any thoughts of creating an IoT network, IoT SSID VLAN, and using MDNS to communicate across subsets? I think he means subnets. Have a great holiday season. So Gary, if you contact me at info@crosstalksolutions.com, send me your address. I will send you a pair of these iClever smart plugs, and you can segregate them any way you so choose. It does not matter to me. But to answer your question, yes, I have had thoughts of creating an IoT network. I will be doing it as a client-isolated, separate, hidden SSID, and then, yeah, I will just connect devices up to it manually. And as long as they should be able to get out to the internet with that, so it'll be just fine. Congratulations, Gary Grobard. And if Gary does not contact me within the next little while here, I will pick someone else. But next little while, I mean like the next week. I won't pick it on this stream. Okay, so let's see. Would you call it your web surfboard? That is very clever. A surfboard. I like that a lot, Nathan. I'm probably going to steal that. Thank you.
And I see David Hyman threw $5 at us.
Okay, what's David's question?
What options is free PBX in a 200 analog motel room? No call accounting management, just need wake-up calls. Please give thoughts on alternative.
So the best thing that you can do would be to implement Vega gateways. So you've got 200 analog rooms. They currently already have phones. The problem, so free PBX is really tough in the hospitality space. They're trying to get better. They just came out with a property management software package that you can now install on free PBX that is, ties in with billing and does stuff like that. But the problem really boils down to you don't want to put a nice fancy VoIP phone, even a cheap VoIP phone, into a hotel room because people don't understand it. They won't know how to use it. You're going to get a lot of questions about it. So what you need in a hotel room are just the old school analog phones like they probably already have. So typically the best way to have those analog phones connected to a free PBX system is with a Vega gateway. So they sell them in up to 50 ports. So you get a 50-port Vega gateway. It has one of those, I'm going to forget the name of an Amphenol connector that connects out with a 50-pair wire to a 66 block, and then you just cross-connect the 66 block to where all of the rooms are. This is the same thing we do to typically retrofit like retirement homes, where oftentimes we just analog the connections to the rooms, and then the residents bring their own phone and just plug it in. And then get dial tone that way, right? So that's usually the easiest way to do that kind of stuff. So I hope that answers your question, but that's how I would do it, unless you're looking to replace 200 phones in 200 rooms, which that's a big expense for a hotel.
Yeah, and you're probably only wired for your old Cat 3, so...
Oh, yeah. Yep, that's a very good point. Yeah, if you don't already have existing Cat 5 cabling, which, not every hotel does, yeah, it's a tough one.
So, definitely, it would be a big project. I actually have to jump off here in a few more minutes. Is there any last-minute questions for me? I got the people about my hole in the ground want me to call them in 10 minutes.
Yeah, Tom's got to go take care of his hole, so... Any questions for Tom? Let's do this. I'm going to do one more giveaway. Let's go ahead and do it now. And this is going to be the giveaway for the Wi-Fi stand. If anyone is interested in the Wi-Fi stand, make sure you put your comments in. I will do that giveaway in just another couple minutes here. Right now, we are at 93 comments on that video. Let's see if anyone has put any in here. Yeah, 93 comments on that video, guys. So this is a much better chance of winning this one than it was winning the iClever smart plugs. And then we're going to do a bigger giveaway. Here, I'll give you guys a little sneak preview. There's a really nice giveaway that I have available, which I will probably save for my 100,000 subscriber live stream. But we have some nice stuff that we might be giving away here. This is a Unify US 8 150 watt. It's about a $200 switch right there. We're definitely going to be giving that away. I already have it ready to go. Okay, let's go ahead and do the Wi-Fi stand. Tom, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Still 93 comments. All right, we're going to randomly pick a winner for the Wi-Fi stand. Randomly pick winner, Eric Wise. All right. So Eric Wise says you should look into Aredn, A-R-E-D-N. We use, let me put this on screen. We use the unified line of access points for all our coverage. We set up IP cameras at events for coverage. All devices are PoE. We run them from batteries. This would be great for our pop-up nodes. We usually use dish, sat, antenna mounts, and sandbags on roofs. Yeah, that's definitely a different way to do it, I suppose. So Eric Wise, if you are watching this stream, contact me at info@crosstalksolutions.com, and I will send you my Wi-Fi stand. I'm not going to send you the pole because I'm keeping that for myself, but you can have the stand itself.
Very cool. I see a few people asking about ZFS. I'm not a big Linux. I was not tested a lot on Linux and ZFS. We build FreeNAS systems. We just quoted a guy. He needs a 300 terabyte system. We're going to do a Stornator for that project. You know, they build nice scalable. The guy needs video archiving for his company. So this kind of been our go-to. We don't do a lot of custom solutions. Like, let me load Linux and load FreeBS or load ZFS on top of it and get it all set up. Most of the time, it's just we build it with FreeNAS, or on enterprise where they need SLA, we do TrueNAS systems. But ZFS, that's what keeps us bringing into those systems. It's just really solid, really scalable. And when you say, I need 300 terabytes, I don't want to worry about bit rot, I want to have cloud syncing and backups to all of our buckets and backblaze and things like that, it's FreeBSD or FreeNAS is kind of just turnkey for that. It just works.
Yeah. I've been impressed with this Synology NAS I've got right here. I've now got Unify running in Docker, and I've got Pi-hole running in Docker on the Synology NAS. It works great.
I have a Synology NAS on our office table or our conference room table right now.
Oh.
We have a big pile. I mean, like we have like one of everything we went and got from Cadmium, and then Cambium. So we got a big pile of that stuff to review. We have the Synology to review, and we have some thoughts on MikroTik. We programmed some of them, and I can't express my hate for those devices.
You don't like the MikroTiks, huh?
Boy, those are stupid devices. Have you worked with them?
I did one video on a MikroTik router when I was still in my old office, so like easily like 3 years ago. And believe it or not, people still comment on it to this day. So I know that they're popular. Mostly, it seems internationally. But no, I found that the interface was a little too convoluted for my taste.
It's really, I'm even though we updated the firmware on this one and we programmed it yesterday, I bet the interface looks the same as it did in your old office.
Probably, yeah. But a lot of people recommended, I forget what the software is, but there's some sort of like central control software you can use that supposedly like ties multiple MikroTik devices together or something, makes it easier to configure them. I don't know. I didn't get into it.
Yeah. All the trouble it was to get the thing we wanted to get done, we figured it out. It's just so many menus. It's nothing. And like, we just had to switch a network setting on. It's like, I look how many menus, as I didn't learn it. One of my other staff did to finish up this other project. And I'm like, wow, there's so many things. All I want to do is change the SSID. He's like, yeah, there's this many menus. I'm like, okay. This is why I don't like them.
Yeah, little too complicated. I mean, which is a double-edged sword, right? Because it's good in that there's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot you can do with it. It's bad in that it's overwhelming.
Yep. So yeah, they seem functional. I also was upset from a security standpoint because they had a default out-of-the-box config that was bad.
Yeah.
And hey, wonderful. I'm looking. So I have 3 screens. I look over, and the people actually sent me the quote, and it's several thousand less than the original, which has me excited. They apparently got something approved.
Good. All right.
So that makes me happy. Yeah. Sorry if I seem a little distracted every now and then. Dealing with home problems is always my nightmare.
Tom is trying to run a business. Well, Tom, listen, I'll let you go. I know you got to deal with your home situation and all that sort of stuff. Thanks for joining the live stream, and make sure everyone go check out Tom Lawrence's channel and subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. Or Tom, you can say subscribe and hit the bell button and hit the bell icon, and YouTube will send you notifications, or they might not, as we know with YouTube. Right? Isn't that what your spiel says at the end of one of your videos?
Yes. And I like to, in case you wondering how MikroTik is pronounced, it's I typed it in the chat here. It's Crow Tick
Micro
because
tick.
they're from
I've been saying
yeah.
micro tick is what I've been
I
saying.
say it wrong all the time. Someone in their forums, because we spent some time in there reading stuff. Someone has an official pronunciation. So we have now renamed all the ones that we have here, me crow tick, as in like
Micro-tick.
me, the crow, and a little tick. So we're gonna draw a logo for them and express our hate for them.
That's right. All right, guys.
All right,
Well,
Chris,
yeah. Once
I'm gonna
again,
jump off.
Tom's gonna jump out. I'm just gonna end it here because I don't think we have. I think we pretty much ran this thing into the ground, and I probably got to get going anyways. So, listen. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. Happy holidays to everyone out there. Tom, happy holidays to you and your family. And yeah, we will be back with another live stream. Probably not until 2019, but 2019 we have some really exciting stuff lined up. Lots of good videos, lots of stuff coming down the pipeline. So. Yeah. Anything else, Tom? We all good?
Nope. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whichever one you prefer. Like I said, I'm just not a holiday spirit. Sorry.
Bah humbug.
I'm a bah humbug. That's what my wife says. And my house is completely Christmased out. Like, because my wife loves Christmas. We got the spinning stupid Christmas tree.
Oh, wow.
As much as I'm bah humbug, my house, if you wouldn't know walking in my house, but I only bring the boxes in and I put the boxes out. She puts off the decorations. So
Yeah.
I blame her.
Yeah, the designated box lifter.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
All
hey,
right.
we'll have a good one. And thank you guys for everyone who joined the live stream. If the winners of those two products contact me at info@crosshawksolutions.com, I will ship them out post haste. And all right, guys. Everyone have a great weekend.
Awesome.
Bye.
That was a good live stream.
I haven't stopped yet, Tom.
Oh, I'm still.
At least you didn't say that was a shitty live stream. I still haven't stopped it. Okay, now I'm going to stop it. All right. Bye, everyone.